I just found this very interesting that there are things that go on in our lives, things we interact with every ding dong day, and we don't have a fucking clue how it works, what it is. And this could be on a very kind of pedestrian level, or you can get very deep into wanting to know how shit works. And I've always thought it was odd that people can drive a car and they don't know anything about how the car works. Women, I'm talking about mostly, and really dumb people. You get in this giant machine. It's has great potential to do amazing harm, damage, death, destruction, and you don't even know how it works. There are people that don't know. They sit there. They know when they turn the wheel, the tires will turn, but they don't know how. Why, when I turn the wheel, did the tires turn? They know if they hit the start button, there's a sound under the hood. They know it's something called an engine, and it somehow makes the wheels turn and you go. But most people don't know how the fuck it works. I think that's insane. I think it's insane to not want to know how something like a car works when you're driving it around. It's not so insane to not know how nature works and how everything works sometimes on a subatomic level. It's not crazy to not want to know that. A lot of people don't give a fuck. And like I said, maybe people find it boring or nerdy or something. So it's not as crazy. I think it's crazy to not know how a car works if you're driving it. But it's not so crazy. But I find it odd that people don't want to know. They don't ask questions about things that go on a daily basis. Wonder where they come from. How did this happen? There are some questions that can't be answered, obviously. We have a lot of things that are still a mystery to even the greatest of scientists and physicists and whatnot. But to not question it seems very odd to me. Like you're just skipping through life with your shoelaces untied when it can bring so much more into your life. The wonder of it, wondering how something works. And every day in your life, something might catch your attention. And instead of it just being like a sparkly pinwheel spinning, you'll wonder, like, what is that? How does it work? What's the real? Let me really dig into that and see on a molecular level what that is. And it's fascinating. Fascinating to me. I don't know about you. I'm just saying, this show, I talk about things that I think will interest people. And sometimes I just talk about things that I'm interested in. So I don't know. I'm not going to go off for an hour on this, but it is something, and it's something so involved in our lives that we just don't know. Like driving the car, that you experience it every fucking day, and there's no question, no wonder about why things are the way they are and how it works. So I'm listening to this video last night, and this guy is talking about trees because he got into it through the fire topic, like what is fire and trees, and it was a great point was brought up. Where the fuck does a tree even come from? Like, what makes it? What is the wood? Where does it come from? There wasn't a tree there. Now there's a tree. What on an atomic level, what did that? What is it made of? And since, matter and energy can't be destroyed, it can just be reapplied and manipulated and moved around and changed. Something had to make the tree. Some shit around had to make this solid wooden thing. Even the giant redwood trees in Northern California. Where did those resources come from? You don't get something for nothing. Where did the resources come from? And then it turns out, I'm amazed at the dates on some of these things. A lot of this shit people were wondering about in the 1700s. And they're doing experiments back then. They must have been fucking wackos to everyone else back then. Because the common school of thought many, many years ago was that trees must have somehow converted the resources in the ground to make this tree. And then a guy decides, well, I'm going to do an experiment. And he gets a couple of 100 pounds of dirt, puts it in a big pot, puts a 5-pound tree in the dirt, and then waits 5 years. 5 fucking years. Now the tree weighs 165 pounds. He takes the tree out. He takes the dirt, dries it, and gets it into the state it was. No fertilizer we use. It was only watered with distilled water, so it wasn't getting any extra minerals or anything. And the dirt was virtually the same weight, just an inconsequential grams of difference in the dirt. So obviously the tree wasn't coming from the dirt. It had to come from somewhere else. And it comes from the fucking air. Every tree you see, no matter how giant it is, every bit of its mass, every bit of the matrix that makes up that tree was pulled out of the fucking air and converted into the tree. You take the gas molecules in the air, you divvy up the atoms from the gas molecules. CO2, carbon dioxide is what trees breathe, for lack of a better term, and they exhale oxygen. You've always heard that. This is pretty inconsequential elementary school stuff. But then you wonder why. Why do they breathe in CO2? Why do they breathe out oxygen? And how does that happen? And how does it benefit the tree and whatnot? It turns out every fucking thing that happens, everything, can be brought back to one source. The sun, the fucking sun is everything. Not just heat. Not just heat. It's everything. The various rays, particles, the photons that the sun throws off affects everything and is involved in a process that creates life, us, trees. There's water, tree soaks up water from the ground. And then a fucking photon from the sun hits the tree, hits a leaf, the chlorophyll. You all know, this is elementary school stuff, photosynthesis. And through that process, the water molecule divvies up into hydrogen and oxygen. And the oxygen part goes off. The hydrogen part is further refined into carbon and certain glucose and sugars. That's why the sap is sweet. You get maple syrup out of, because it stores energy that it got from the fucking sun as sugars in the tree or plant. And if an animal eats that plant, that's the energy, the calories, the energy that is going into that body from eating a plant was because a fucking photon from the sun, a lot of them, put that in motion to provide glucose, sugars in that plant as a storage facility for energy, whether the plant needs it or an animal eating the plant needs it. All from the sun. It's crazy. So then he starts talking about burning wood, burning a tree. You take a log, everyone's done this, we've all done this, and you put it in the fireplace and you light it up and you get fire, a flame. What the fuck is that? What is that? It's a chemical reaction. And it's utilizing, do you know where that, because again, energy, you can't just make it out of nowhere. You have a log, you can't just light it on fire and then energy just comes out of nowhere. That energy, all of the heat you feel from a burning log is in there. It's in the log. That energy is stored in that log. And when you burn it and you feel the heat and see the flame of fire, you know what that energy is? The fucking sun. It's from the sun. It's been stored there. How fucking crazy is that? And then where does it go? You got a log. After you burned a log, it is amazing. If you burn a single log and you come back after it's completely burnt, the lack of material left is astounding. It's ash that is so little of it and it's so light. And then you go, like, where did the log go? Oh, it evaporated. It did that. Well, what does that mean? Where did it go? On an atomic level, where did that fucking log go? There's only this left. The ash is all the solid particulate that the tree did get from the ground. Like certain chemicals, manganese. All your basic chemicals that it got from the ground. Everything else came from the air, the gas that is the air, oxygen, hydrogen, turning it into carbon. It's amazing. And that's where it goes. That's where it goes. Right back to where it fucking came from. The same place that tiny little tree, as it was growing, took from the air and built a giant tree over the course of years and years and years, just goes right the fuck back to where it came from. The air and that little bit of ash goes into the ground. The heat from the sun is dispersed back into the atmosphere. It doesn't go away. Those excited atoms from the fire bounce off of other atoms and heat up the environment. And they rise up and in some small way contribute to weather, evaporation of clouds. They just become part of the whole system again. Isn't that crazy? I'm just dumbfounded at how that shit is all around us. It's happening all the time. And, we just take it for granted, I guess. And some really smart motherfuckers figured out that that's what's going on. That's what's going on in the world. Crazy. It's astounding. It's fucking astounding. All right, there's your science lesson from Dr. Anthony today.